Welcome back to another video in the dust here, and I'm here just killing through things because I wanted to talk about a topic and just kind of do a commentary video. This is coming in place of my regular Borderlands uploads. I was kind of running out of time to doing one of those, and I wanted to get this done. So, the topic of this video is Borderlands 3 and Battleborn Hyperbole. The reason I wanted to address this, I'm just seeing a lot of stuff come out with a lot of junk, really. Just kind of random things being said without any kind of proof or, facts about anything, and just really just flatly incorrect stuff. So there's been a couple of big YouTubers. I don't want to focus on bashing them or naming names and all that. I want to play nice. But there's been a lot of stuff about BL3 and Battleborn and how they're connected. So I guess to dig into those, one of the first things I keep hearing is Battleborn is kind of being made as a test or an example for Battleborn, and this is just false. Battleborn is not anything except something that Gearbox wants to make and that they're excited about, passionate about. I've heard the rumor that, they're using Battleborn to test some new things for Borderlands, or even the rumor that they were working on Borderlands 3 and they stopped working on Borderlands 3 because the pre-sequel failed, and that means they're going to be doing Battleborn instead. That was terrible shooting. And this is flat out wrong. Battleborn's been in the making for at least probably 4 years now, I think. And I know this because I've both talked to devs, I've talked to friends that have talked to devs. I've kind of followed the saga. Back at the community day, was this 3 years ago maybe? Right before the first Headhunter pack was going to come out, they invited a bunch of forum people to partake in their Kill Jacques the Lantern the fastest. And with that, as two of my friends went, Spunky and Man of Low Moral Fiber. And both of these at the time were sitting there at the Gearbox headquarters, talking to Gearbox people. And while they couldn't name or say anything about Battleborn, they were all anxiously wanting to talk about it. And they didn't talk to those guys about it in any detail. They just said, yeah, we're working on this new thing. It's really cool. We've been working on it for a while now. So Battleborn was in development since before Borderlands 3, before Borderlands 2 was released. That's how old Battleborn, or how long they've been working on Battleborn. I want to get to that diseased one, but these guys are in my way. So yeah, if Borderlands has been out for almost 4 years now. So they've been working on Battleborn for that long. This is not some reaction to the pre-sequel. It's not some testing ground. It is something they're incredibly passionate about and they've been excited about and working on for a really long time. You guys can't fight with inertia. So that whole rumor, I said I wasn't going to name names, so I'll stop myself there. But there's two big YouTubers that have put out things similar to those sayings. And that's, like I said, it's just a bunch of crap. One video came out saying, is Battleborn a testing ground for the next-gen BL3 engine? And if this person had done any homework, they would know the answer to that is an outstanding no, because Battleborn is actually using the same engine as Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. Gearbox has, for a while now, been working on optimizing Unreal Engine for their uses. And they're continuing to use that Gearbox optimized Unreal Engine on Battleborn. I asked Randy Varnell about this. So no, there's no testing, no conspiracy, no trickery. They're just making a game they wanted to make. They came up with an idea for a new game. They wanted to make it, so they started making it. It's really that simple. That is Battleborn. Battleborn really doesn't have much to do with Borderlands 3. Now, I know I've said in the past, some people might point this out if they've listened or paid attention to me, that I'm excited about Battleborn because I think a lot of Battleborn will work its way into Borderlands 3. And yes, I continue to believe that, but that does not mean I believe that Battleborn is some secret, hidden conspiracy theory to test out new things. It's just when they're making a game with 25 characters with skill trees, that's also a first-person shooter, that's probably going to influence how they make skill trees in the future. That's really simple there. There's no trickery, there's no deception. That's just plain old, whatever you do helps you do new things in the future. That's just everything in the world. You know, when you make a movie, you know, if you're a production house and you make a film, no matter what your next film is, that previous film is going to show some kind of influence on that next film. Whether if it's a camera technique or just being more experienced at making movies, you know, things are just going to influence things that you do and make you better at the things you do. It's just the way the world works. You get better at things by doing things. Whoa, I almost got knocked off there. So, the other thing is the pre-sequel failing. I don't even know, have we seen any measurable means that the pre-sequel actually did fail? I know 2K Australia went out of business, but they were going out of business anyways. It wasn't because of the pre-sequel. We don't know that the pre-sequel is a financial failure or success yet. By all means, it sold enough to make a profit. It didn't sell as well as Borderlands 2, but it also didn't need to because it had a much lower development cost. And you know that because, you know, they had the base engine. It wasn't a remake of the engine like it was from Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 2. You had all the same base guns. You know, there's so much in common. I mean, it was kind of a reskin, and it probably should have been $40 and not $60. I kind of agree with that point, but I don't regret spending $60 on it because I got more than 60 hours into it. I kind of go to that $1 an hour of entertainment, and I'm okay. I think I've got around 400 hours into it right now. It's nowhere near what I have in Borderlands 2, but if I get 400 hours for $60, I consider that a win.
Stop struggling.
I'm trying to think. What is the next? I should kill him and then look at my notes. I actually have some bullet points here.
That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. People would talk about why is Gearbox being so tight-lipped about Borderlands 3. That was a topic of a video I saw. My response to that is they're not being tight-lipped about it. It's just too early in the development cycle to say anything. Borderlands 3, they announced they were hiring for it about a year ago now, probably. And that didn't mean they're actually starting to work on it. And then at one point, I don't remember the exact date, but they said they were starting to work on it. Great. They are starting to work on it. Now, I know a bunch of people want to see it now because E3 is coming up, and that's probably why some of these videos are starting to pop up. But it's going to be about a 3 to 4 year development cycle for Borderlands 3, most likely. The pre-sequel was kind of a reskin, you know. Borderlands games are not going to be like Maddens or Call of Duties or NBA whatever. They're going to take their time and do it right, and that's what they kind of said. They wanted to reset their batteries and, you know, make the game they wanted to make, not make the game they were forced to make. And whenever you're dealing with creativity or art, and yes, video games are art, that's a really good sign. I know this is my fire pimp, but he came up on me pretty fast there. So recently I read an article about True Detective Season 2. And an HBO executive took blame for that Season 2 kind of being a flop and not being that good. And I thought this was really impressive what he said, and this does relate to the topic. You know, he said, True Detective Season 1 was such a big success that we rushed Season 2 on the creators. When they didn't have a story to tell, we forced them to make a story to tell. And that's a big deal because when you have a story to tell or a game to make or a painting to paint or a song to write, you shouldn't write a song or make a game or paint a painting because you're expected to. You should do it because you have it within you. You have an idea, you have something you want to create. And sometimes that takes time to let that foster and happen. So I'm really happy that they made another game before Borderlands 3, because they made Borderlands 1 and 2 back to back, and let their batteries recharge, let them do something else, and let them not be burnt out on Borderlands. You don't want the creators of a game to resent that game because that's all they can live and breathe for 20 years. Give them space and time between it. It's like, yes, I want Borderlands 3 as much as the rest of you. Obviously, I have a lot invested in the Borderlands games, and I love them. And I want more of them, not less of them, but I want them to be good and inspired. I don't want them to be just kind of generic junk. And that's a really important part, so be patient. If they just started working on Borderlands 3 recently, there's a good chance if you just look, let's say it's going to take 3 years to make that game. Where are these guys? Are they inside that fence? So let's say it's going to take 3 years to make that game, and they started in 2015, in the mid of 2015. That means Borderlands 3, at the earliest, should probably come out in the middle of 2018. I know, holy shit, that's too long. I can't fucking handle that. But it's reality. And I think it's better to be real than, keep saying, when's Borderlands 3? When's Borderlands 3? Just chill out and wait, because it's not anytime soon. But it would be bad if it was anytime soon. If they just rush out that game, that's going to be lame. I want to see a big iteration, something really inspired and big. And, it's probably going to take them 3-4 years to make that game. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'd rather wait for a good game than just get, a recycled something we've already played. We already got the pre-sequel. I like the pre-sequel, but I'm glad the pre-sequel is not Borderlands 3. I wouldn't mind if they do that with Borderlands 3, by the way. Take three so years to make Borderlands 3 and then do a Borderlands 3.5. I would be completely cool with that. But it's important to be realistic about these things. So I mentioned E3 is coming up, and that might be the reason why some people have been freaking out and I need Borderlands news now. People keep saying, are we going to see a trailer? Are we going to see a teaser? We're most likely going to see stuff about a year out from release. We'll see some tidbits before then, I'm sure, but not a lot. Nothing really worthwhile, because this early in the game, so much is up to be changed as they develop that game. Look at Borderlands 2. Originally, Maya was going to have a capstone where at the end of phase lock, if the enemy is still alive, she slams him into the ground. Or maybe you could end it early by slamming an enemy into the ground. And that didn't end up happening. It didn't work right. They had to ditch that. And who knows if that capstone turned into Thought Lock, Scorn, or Rune. I don't know. But they had to change things. With Thorn, even in Battleborn, originally she was going to have this pet spirit wolf, and she was going to be a pet class, but they couldn't get that to work, so they scrapped that, and she got her Blight Ball or whatnot. So it's, Gearbox has already kind of learned those lessons about talking about things too early. And with Borderlands 3, they're probably going to be, a little smarter about those things. Make sure they're ready to say things and, not have too much or anything drastic change. Another example would be bandit weapons. Remember the original concepts of those with, the broken beer bottle scope. Those parts didn't actually match up with the other guns, so they kind of had to scrap that as well, and that was disappointing. So Gearbox has learned their lesson the hard way about, talking too early about things. And I am willing to bet they are a bit, more professional with that, or I don't know if professional is the right word, but a little bit smarter with it. in with Borderlands 3. Where I heard another buzzer, I thought. Maybe I didn't.
Stop.
So yeah, they're not being tight-lipped. They're just, it's too early to say things.
Quiet.
Blaster, why do you even pretend that you can kill me? I'm better than you. I'm trying to think if there's any other closed. Haven't heard anything. Oh yeah, the mistakes. Like, oh, Gearbox screwed up so badly, they're in bad shape. If I don't get where this whole narrative comes from. Now, if Gearbox was made such a disaster out of their games, why is Borderlands still such a big deal? If they screwed it up so bad, if they screwed up Borderlands 2 so bad, why did it continue to sell and continue to be on the top of the Steam charts? You know, this is one that, you know, is kind of mind-boggling. Like, they've handled it really well. You know, the pre-sequel wasn't Borderlands 2, but it wasn't made out to be Borderlands 2. So, you know, that whole thing, too, is kind of odd. I just don't get where that whole kind of mindset comes from. There's some people that just seem to be really angry at Borderlands or Gearbox, but, like, why are they angry at them? They made some amazing games that people are essentially making a living off of on YouTube and profiting off of on YouTube, and yet they're angry at the people that made that game. They've continued to support Borderlands 2 and TPS till this day. They're still putting out patches and hot fixes. That's incredibly good for a company. So like I said, I just don't get where a lot of this stuff comes from. And, you know, where is this upset and anger and all this shit coming from? Because it just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Where are you, Buzzard? So I guess I, you know, just wanted to make a video addressing those things. So, you know, in summary here as I go on, Battleborn is not being made because they want to test things for Borderlands 3, or because they want to make Borderlands 3 more like Destiny, or turn into a MOBA or a MMO, or because of any problems with the pre-sequel. They're making Battleborn because they were inspired as artists to make that property, to make that project, that whatever you want to call it, that game. I guess I could address one more topic as I run back here. The Battleborn's doomed to be a failure. Oh no. Calm the hell down. People said the same thing about Borderlands. They said, why make Borderlands? You have Brothers in Arms. It makes no sense. Just keep making Brothers in Arms games. You know how silly that sounds now? So don't be one of those people that, you know, you have to try to rewrite history because you said really idiotic things and then you have to take them back. Let's just be open-minded and, you know, cautiously optimistic is a great word. That's a great way to look at things. But some people are saying that because there are other games similar to Battleborn coming out, you know, like Overwatch and Paladins. But they're not the same. And even if all three of them are really similar or too similar, guess what? There are a lot of gamers. You can have 3 successful games in the same genre. I mean, Borderlands is successful and Destiny is successful. You know, they're both kind of looter shooters. Warframe is kind of in that light too, and Warframe has been successful. Okay. I don't see a problem with that. Just because one game might be more successful than another doesn't mean the other games can't be successful. Look, if they turn a profit off Battleborn, they were successful with it. There you go. There's the means for success. You know, I'm pretty sure they turned a profit on the pre-sequel by, you know, just looking at rough sales figures and all that. So, it, you know, it looks like the pre-sequel, while not as big of a success as Borderlands 2, was still a success. But I'm not worried about Battleborn being good. Borderlands 1 was kind of a sleeper, and then it grew a lot out of word of mouth. More people played it and ended up having a really long life. So I'm not worried about Battleborn kind of having that same kind of thing. But Battleborn, because of Borderlands' success, has a better chance of starting off good because, Gearbox has a better name for it now. Some people like to just keep bringing up aliens, and then, laugh about it. But to me, that's a poor argument because Aliens wasn't a Gearbox property. It was a Sega property. That thing was kind of fucked from the start. There's just, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff with that, but that wasn't Gearbox only. And some people try to say Duke Nukem, but Gearbox didn't make Duke Nukem. They wanted to buy the rights for Duke Nukem because no one else was doing anything with it. And there was this half-baked game sitting there, or 90% baked game not getting released. And the tax to get the rights to Duke Nukem was to release that game. So they had to release a shitty game to, be able to make good games under that IP later. And they were willing to do that. I think that's pretty cool. Aliens, like I said, Aliens was a mess. Fine. Okay. But that's the last time Gearbox has ever, and probably will ever, make a game for another company. Because at this point, Gearbox is too big for that. They've got brother. In fact, they're so big, they're looking for other people to make games for them. Brothers in Arms, they want to make a new one, but they don't have the time to do it with Borderlands 3 and Battleborn and all this other stuff, so they're looking to partner with someone to get that made. Same thing with Duke Nukem. They've done the same thing with Homeworld Games. So Gearbox is now that company that's got more to do than they can handle, and they're looking for partners. They're not looking to do work for other people anymore. When they were a small new dev team, they were looking for that. But those are times of the past. And that's important to note. So, yeah, Battleborn, I'm not at all worried that it's not going to be a big success or anything, because, time will tell, but I'm pretty sure with the audience they have from Borderlands, plus, the MOBA audience kind of interested with it, the first closed beta was really big and a good success, and they're going to have the open beta, and that's going to attract all sorts of new people. So it doesn't seem like there's anything to worry about it at this point. I just don't get that, like, oh, it's doomed to fail and Gearbox is screwed, and if Battleborn doesn't do good, Gearbox is going to end up closing down, and what then? Oh no. Well, look, they've got enough money and assets with Borderlands. They got the movie going. They made so much money off Borderlands. And it's not like they're going to not make a cent from Battleborn and lose so much money that they close down. And even that, they could probably borrow against, future Borderlands 3 sales if need be, if it gets that ugly and disgusting, but I don't see it doing that. So yeah, it's just, I don't think there's any reality to that speculation of Gearbox is in trouble. Like, they just had a massive hit with Borderlands. Or Borderlands 2. They had the pre-sequel, which I'm pretty sure they, made some nice money off that. Then they just had the movie deal, and I guarantee there's a lot of cash involved with that. So it doesn't seem like, without, being in on some earnings call or anything like that, that Gearbox looks like they're in trouble, or anybody should worry about them being in trouble. That just seems like a really big false narrative going around. Yeah, I guess I covered a lot of topics, and I went on a little longer than I planned to, but I got to get going to go see Deadpool. So I think I have to cut this off now. I do. I'm actually running late. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll let you know what I thought about Deadpool later. But thanks for sticking with me through this video and listening to me ramble and rant. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this. Hopefully you are also fed up with all of it, because it just seems to be a bunch of junk going around. And well, I don't have over 200,000 subscribers like some of these other people saying these things. Someone's got to fight the misinformation battle at some point, and I hope I've earned your guys' trust, and you do kind of trust me and rely on, I don't know about rely, but trust me, because, I've made mistakes in videos, but I've corrected them when people have pointed out my mistakes or when I've done it, and not been afraid to do that. In fact, I often thank people when they correct me in my own comment section, so that I can correct the information in the video. So, I'm not talking shit and making stuff up. I'm going through more truthful data, I guess, or information that I have or I've seen or come across. So that's it. I've got to run. Deadpool is awaiting me, and I will see you guys later. Bye.